Hey everyone, Connie here, and we haven't been in here in a while. The reason is just get this out of the way right away. Um, I don't know when my father's gonna be home, and I don't want him like coming in and interrupting the reaction and whatnot. Or he doesn't care about any of this, so he'll just come in, he'll start yelling, he'll start being loud and everything, throwing stuff down if he went shopping or whatnot. He doesn't give a care, so not even gonna risk that shit. So I'm in here. I'm reacting it back in my bedroom for the first time in quite a while. Um, some of you who are newer to the channel might not have even seen a reaction with this setup. But anyway, we're here today for a big reaction. Steven Universe Season 5, Episodes 19 through 23. This newest Steven Bomb aired this past week, and it's supposed to be a really big one. I don't know the details about what's going to happen. All I know is obviously it continues off of the last one, in which we found out that Rose Quartz was Pink Diamond all along. And yeah, I mentioned it last time. I do not like that. I don't like the twist that they went with that. Um, because one, it was way too like, how do I put it? Not like obvious. That's the wrong way to put it. Um, Too many people saw it coming, or at least too many people like were theorizing about that, and I feel like they kind of just shoehorned it in because it doesn't make sense if you think about it. I feel like they kind of shoehorned it in just to please those fans who were guessing about it. Because when you really think about it, as I was talking about last time, it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't fit. And it raises a whole lot of questions that I don't think will ever be properly answered. I'm not going to go over all of that hullabaloo here. You can go check out my previous Steven Universe reaction. The playlist will be linked in the description below, for just my general thoughts after that happened. The entire idea of Pink Diamond having been a good person, or gem, I guess, that's fine. I'm good with that. It's just, I don't like the idea of Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz being the same person. It just seems, again, completely shoehorned in. There's no proper buildup. It came out of nowhere. There was pretty much nothing to hint that that was what was going on. There was no real evidence to that. It feels completely out of left field. And again, it just kind of feels like they put it in there just to please the fans who had been theorizing that for a long time now. Pretty much since the identity of, or pretty much since Pink Diamond was first talked about, fans have been have been theorizing that, and it just feels so. How do I put it? There's another word for it. It feels like fan pandering. That's what I was thinking of. It feels like it's just complete and total fan pandering without actually a regard to proper storytelling or just continuity. Because again, it came out of nowhere. There is nothing to back this up from from past episodes and whatnot. And this is completely unlike Steven Universe. The Crewniverse, as we like to call them, they don't do this kind of stuff. They don't make these kind of mistakes. So to see them do something like this that just seems completely out of character, for lack of a better term, for them to do for this show, it's painful, almost. But yeah, it's just, I know a lot of people liked it. I know a lot of people were really excited about it. I'm not one of them, and my opinions haven't changed. And they probably won't, unless somehow the Crewniverse can make this Steven Bomb we're about to watch be like, explain everything in a way that makes sense and is logical and works. Unless that can happen, it's most likely never going to change. I do not think this was a good decision. I think it was a terrible decision. But that's just me. That's just me. And the show is still great. It's still a great show. So I'm really hoping for more greatness here. Now, I do know one thing. about what's to come, and it was kind of because of the last episode. See, the last episode, or at least the version of it I had downloaded, had a little bumper at the end. Um, and I think noticed. I don't think I noticed it when I was first reacting, but I think I noticed it again when I watched it again, or watched through the episode again. There's a little bumper at the end that showed the next time kind of thing, and it shows that Ruby and Sapphire split up again, which isn't super surprising. I don't know the full details behind it. I didn't hear if they said anything, but I just know what happens. Um, and where we left off, Steven had just come out of Pearl, and he's like, "Oh, so Mom was Pink Diamond," and the others are just standing there in shock. So it's not super surprising. Especially, I feel like Garnet, Ruby, and Sapphire would feel kind of betrayed about it all, because to find out that the leader of the rebellion, the one they trusted so much, was actually one of the homeworld leaders all along. Yeah, I could understand why they would feel betrayed by that. And honestly, they rightfully should. Even if Pink Diamond was pretty cool and pretty uh, just nice about things, it's still, yeah. Either way, I don't know anything about what's to happen in these. I've stayed spoiler free, luckily. So I'm ready to get into this. Because even despite my issues with the entire Pink Diamond Rose Quartz thing, I still know that these are going to be some great episodes. At least I hope so. And the show's still great. I mean, the show's had issues before, so it's not like it's the first time a big issue's come up with this, so yeah. I mean, the show has Ronaldo as a character. That's a problem in and of itself. Either way. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so at the beginning of this redirect, during my pre-thoughts before I watched anything, I mentioned how I did not like that they made Rose Quartz and Pink Diamond the same person. And that unless they did something, really good to make me view it another way, or to make it make sense, I still wouldn't like it. And I still don't like it. Nothing they did with these episodes really made it work or make sense. Nothing made it come together or feel natural, or like it was, in any way built up to. It still feels just completely out of the blue and forced. That being said, these were amazing episodes. This entire arc, this Steven bomb we had this time around, was one of my favorites. Despite my issues with Pink Diamond and Rose being the same person, I still like them as a character. Because my only issue is that they're the same person, not who they are as a character. So, yeah. So seeing more of Pink Diamond in this, and seeing more of how she was, and seeing how she first became Rose, was really cool and fascinating. But the big thing about this Steven bomb was Garnet, Ruby and Sapphire's relationship. They came undone because of finding out what Pink Diamond / Rose had done, and that they'd basically been lied to this entire time, and their trust was completely broken, and rightfully so. Rose was not this good person that we all claim her to be. She was not this amazing, just wonderful, just awesome kind of character. She didn't only even have issues. She was kind of messed up. She was selfish, She was childish. She was honestly uncaring about others' views. Everything she did for her own reasons. Not to help others, but because she wanted to live on Earth for her own selfish reasons. She enjoyed Earth. She enjoyed Earth and she wanted to stay there, and she wanted everything to remain as she enjoyed it. That's the only reason she wanted all of the people to remain. The only reason she wanted to stop the war and save the planet, because that's what she wanted. She didn't even consider others, which is why we see here Ruby and Sapphire decide to become Garnet again because of their thoughts on it, because they love each other. They choose to become Garnet again because it's their decision, not because Rose wanted it, not because Rose told them it was okay, but because they believed it was okay. And I think that's important to know. We kind of see now that Rose, aka Pink Diamond, wasn't, again, this amazing person we kind of led her, or we kind of built her up to be. And that's kind of part of my issue with her now. Because everything up to this was that she was this amazing person who was different. She came from this world, this just upbringing, basically, to where she should have been a warrior for a horrible group of what basically amounts to aliens, who wants to just take over planets and make them part of their world, basically, for a lack of a better way to put it. You know I'm not great with words and all. The entire idea was that she rebelled against that because she saw something else. She saw the idea of freedom, of happiness, of being who you are and who you want to be. That's who we saw Rose as, and that's how everything built her up to be, but it was wrong. And I don't like that. And maybe that's just because I don't like that. Maybe it's just because I find that hard to stomach. But I feel like it was more compelling to have her be not a product of who she came from and where she came from. But to find out that she is a diamond and that all of this was just because of her own selfish desires kind of ruins that for me. It ruins the intrigue, it ruins the interest, it ruins my caring for her character. Honestly, Rose Quartz, prior to being revealed to be Pink Diamond, was in my top 10 favorite characters of the show. She's not anymore. And again, that may just be me, but I can't rightfully like her anymore. And that's not just to say, oh, I don't like her anymore because she's not this great, perfect person. No, not by any means. I mean, some of my favorite characters in a lot of different shows are not perfect. A lot of them have issues. A lot of them have done horrible things. Heck, I love villain characters a lot, like the Joker, Harley Quinn, all those kind of characters. Heck, I even love Thanos from the Marvel Universe. And they're horrible, like, evil people. That's not the issue. The issue is I don't like what they did with her, and I don't like what her character has become. Because her character honestly meant a lot to me because of what it was before. But by making her be Pink Diamond and changing her motivations for all of this, and it hurts what she was to me, and it makes it so that her character doesn't mean as much to me anymore. And that may sound selfish, and in a way it is. But I have to view it that way. This is my experience watching the show. These are my thoughts, my viewpoints. To me, Rose is no longer a compelling, likable character. I'm not a fan of her anymore. And it hurts, but it's my viewpoint. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to it just like you're entitled to an opinion if you still love her, or if you love her even more than before. But we're going to move on to some other stuff to talk about. As I mentioned, this Stephen Bond focused a lot on Garnet. So after splitting up, Ruby and Sapphire kind of do their own things for a little bit. Sapphire just goes off to kind of cry and just feel betrayed until Stephen helps her realize it's not her fault, and basically telling her, yeah, it was Rose's fault. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And she comes to her senses. But when they get back, Ruby's gone. And we find out Ruby is just kind of going off to do her own thing now. They eventually find her, and they realize, with Greg's help and wisdom, of course, that they have to let her. That they can't force her to just go back to Sapphire. They can't force her to be Garnet again. It has to be her choice. And so they let her. They let her go on this little Wild West adventure. But Ruby admits she misses Sapphire. And of course she does. We know they love each other. She needed that time off, though. She even kind of says that she does not regret taking that time off. But that she still misses Sapphire and still wants to be back with her. And so they do reunite. And we get a wedding. We get Ruby proposing to Sapphire, which is adorable and fantastic. Because that's a thing. Ruby and Sapphire were a power couple before. They were a great couple, but they weren't they weren't married. And of course, I mean, they're gems. They're being fused as Garnet all this time, of course, kind of signified that kind of bond. But the action of the marriage itself is still really powerful. It was basically said, I think Steven said it, what's more romantic than a wedding? And it's completely right. A wedding is the most romantic showing of love you can possibly show. It is the epitome, the epitome, whichever way you want to pronounce it, of love between two people. So to have Ruby and Sapphire have a wedding, when it's not necessary at all, and honestly isn't even official, because I doubt Steven's ordained in any way, even though you can technically get ordained online these days. I still doubt he is. Even though it's not official, it's how do I put it? It's meaningful in its symbolism. It means something. Even if it's not official, the fact that they're going through these steps still means something. It's wonderful, you know? And it's a beautiful thing. But then Blue and Yellow show up. And they're going after the cluster. And while Yellow fights the cluster, which is amazing, by the way, that the cluster's fighting back. That's fantastic. Blue starts to fight them. The crystal gems. And they're winning, because they're the diamonds. Of course they're going to win. After Yellow is defeated by the cluster leaves, but Yellow returns and joins Blue in her fight. And Steven's knocked out really badly, but he's in sort of this weird psychic mind area, which I'm not really surprised he could do that. We've seen so many different abilities from him, and stuff like this even he's done with the cluster before, so it's not really too surprising. I think this is, oh, sorry for the shakiness, by the way. I think this is the first time he's ever done it to this level, but still. We see he can communicate with others just by touching their ghostly forms in this sort of other plane of existence. And he does this, he encourages his friends, but then he also goes to the diamonds. And he exerts his will through a literal manifestation of power, which they recognize as pink diamonds. So that when he wakes up, they are there for him. And they've been turned to his side because they know now that, yeah, he's Pink Diamond. Well, he's, I guess, the current incarnation. And that Pink Diamond never was really shattered. And this episode did a lot for Yellow Diamond. Because Blue Diamond, we already knew, really missed Pink. She was always really just torn up about it. Yellow kind of tried to play sort of a stoic side to things. Though in her song, What's the Use of Feeling Blue, which I still adore, by the way, amazing song, um, she does say, don't you know we miss her, or I miss her too. And of course Yellow misses her. And it's great to show that. And it's great to show that maybe they even have some regrets over the way they treated her. And that's what this episode kind of shows, that they kind of feel responsible in a way, especially Yellow. And to see that is great character development. It shows that even someone as tough and like hard on the exterior, kind of pun intended because of a diamond, like Yellow Diamond, even she can have great character development and growth. To see that she blamed herself for Pink shattering this entire time, that's actually heartbreaking. It's like they're still not like fully developed or anything, but they're going that route, and I love that. I love that this show can do that. And it's done that before. It's taken other villains and made them likable and great characters. I mean, Peridot's a great example. And then we had some amazing returns in this bomb. We had Lapis return. We had Bismuth return. We even had some small cameo returns in the background, such as Andy, Greg's, was it cousin? I think it's cousin. Yeah. Yeah, because I think he called him Cousin Andy. We had some great returns. We had amazing lines. Like, the entire line Greg said, like, she never told me she was Pink Diamond, but I never told her I was Gregory DeMeo. It's like, wow, that was great. So, like, such wisdom. And Greg's always been a great source of that, but wow. Just, I love Greg so much. We had Connie in here. We had a bunch of other characters show up, of course. The only one we really didn't get in this one was Lars, who I hope will be returning soon to Earth. I still want to see his reuniting with Sadie. And I want to see how everybody else reacts to the off-colors. But here's a question. We now have the diamonds, yellow and blue, on the Crystal Gems side. And from what we saw from the preview, which normally, you know, I don't watch those because I like to remain spoiler-free, but this is one of those times where I couldn't turn that off because it's just I was so fascinated. What we saw from the preview, when we come back, blue and yellow are going to be shown around Earth, shown what happened to the gems, that they weren't all shattered and stuff, and instead corrupted. We still haven't met White Diamond. A lot of people were thinking that once we finally got to yellow and blue and that big battle happened, that was going to be the end of the series. I don't think so. I think that now we're building up to the final battle. I think we are in the final act of Steven Universe. I definitely do think we're nearing the end. I think Season 6 will probably be the end. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. Although I really wish it could go longer, I do think Steven Universe does need to end instead of extending itself too long. And especially with how it's gone away from its kind of episodic style and got so much more story-based in the past few seasons, I think it's about the right time. So I think that it would be a good idea to have Season 6 focus on the reveal of White Diamond and have her be the final enemy. Maybe have it so that White Diamond is not moved by all of this. White Diamond doesn't care that Pink Diamond was never actually shattered. White Diamond kind of being even more strict and unyielding than Yellow ever was. I think that would be the best move to do, and have it to be where the entire next season focuses on everybody preparing for the final battle with White. The entire new Crystal Gems, which will include blue and yellow, of course. I think that would be the best way to do it. That would be a good point to bring Lars back, because him and the off-colors can help join forces with the Crystal Gems. There's so many opportunities now. But I do think it needs to end soon. And I hate saying that. I hate saying it. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. But I think that it's at that point. With Blue and Yellow Diamond now having been swayed to the side of the Crystal Gems, they have to move, they have to finish this, they have to close this out. Yes, have a couple of episodes to show Blue and Yellow coming further to the side of good. Show them finding out what happened after they left the Earth. That's great. I love that. But we need to finally get to the big climax of this series. We need to finally have the final war against Homeworld. And it's going to be intense. It's going to be insane. There's going to be a lot on the line. But it's going to be amazing. And again, this show has done some things I don't like. It's done plenty of things I don't like. It's had bad episodes, it's had bad characters, it's had bad plot twists. But overall, this show has been amazing. And when it does finally end, whether it's in season 6 or even beyond, you know that the Crewniverse, Rebecca Sugar, Ian James Courtley, all of them, they're going to make it one hell of a finale. And it's going to be sad to see it come to an end. But it's needed. There have been so many shows that have just gone way too long and lost their luster. Fairly Odd Parents is a great example of that. It went on too long and became a bad show, just straight up. It lost its comedy, it lost its character, it lost its intelligence. And there have been other shows as well that just, as time goes on, the longer they run, they start to lose what made them great. Because at some point, they just have to keep adding new things in. They just have to keep coming up with just a bunch of different storylines and all. And it's harder even for episodic shows like The Simpsons, which has gotten so stale and boring. It's like it might have a good episode here and there these days, but current day Simpsons is not good in general. And it's... I think Steven Universe, unfortunately, would fall into that trap if they tried to push it any further. You see, when you build up something, you have to end it at the right time. The anime Bleach screwed up royally by having the show go on past Aizen's defeat. Well, the show and the manga. Go on past Aizen's defeat and try to raise the stakes even further. Aizen should have been the end-all, be-all villain. With Naruto, the end-all, be-all villain should have been Tobi. Or Obito Uchiha. They shouldn't have gone past that with, what was her name? Kagura or something? That was silly. One Piece, they're building up the final villain to be Blackbeard. If they change that, that's going to be extremely upsetting. Because everything they built it up to. With Steven Universe, they're building up White Diamond as the final villain. Because she's the one we haven't seen yet. She's the one we know almost nothing about. And it was very clear, as we kept going, that with knowing about Blue and Yellow now, that they weren't going to be the final villains. It was very clear that they were building up to White Diamond very gradually, so that she would be the endgame boss. So if they tried to do anything more with Steven Universe after that, it would feel completely just forced and wrong. So yeah, enough with this long-winded rambling, though. But the point is, yes, Steven Universe needs to come to an end. And it needs to happen within the next season, I feel. Maybe they can extend it to Season 7, but I think it should happen with Season 6. It's going to be a sad day for it to end. But with this Steven bomb ending the way it did, with blue and yellow joining the side of the crystal gems, they have to go into the end game. They have to. This was a fantastic Steven bomb. It didn't change my mind on the idea of Rose and Pink Diamond being the same person. But it was fantastic nonetheless, and it started the end game of Steven Universe. It kicked off the big change in what this is going to be. This show has been leading into a war, a second war, for a long time. We've been building into that for a long time now. And it's time to move into that. It's time for the war. The second Gem versus Earth war. This time it's going to be a lot different, though. With blue and yellow on the Crystal Gem side, all the new Crystal Gems, and so much more. I mean, basically, when you look at it, there's 3 diamonds on the Crystal Gem side. But, you know White Diamond is going to be so much more powerful. Either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this Steven bomb. Where do you think this is going to go next, and how do you think this is going to end? Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad